My name is Will Griffin. I'm a Local 19 union sheet metal worker. I just completed my apprenticeship September of 2024. Just to touch on how I got introduced to the trade, there was advertisement online that said, it simply just said, do you want to change your life? And at that time, I was actually looking for a change. I hit the link and I get a phone call from a young man named Jordan. I think he runs the organization Trades for Difference. I meet him in Germantown at his office. And he simply just says, hey, there's this program in Philadelphia that's starting up. They're bridging the gap between the city and the building trades. When you go into an interview, you dress your best. He gave me the whole rundown of just dress properly, introduce yourself, and go from there. So I get another phone call and I get an address. The address was, I believe, 3801 Market Street. I walk inside, I introduce myself, and this was the CAP program. That was ran by a gentleman named Walt McGill. Also a young lady named Kylie and Miss Terry. They introduced themselves. They said, hey, this is a program we will be preparing you for the building trades. They partnered with the organization called Pen Assist. Here you'll be taking night courses. You'll be learning your basic math, your reading and writing. We will prepare you for the interview for the building trades. And also a plus, you would have to quit your job, but you'll also have an opportunity for on-the-job training at one of the biggest hospitals on the East Coast, which is now located at, I believe, 34th and Spruce. And that is the introduction to me. So think about it, young man, I'm 24 years old, and I am working during the daytime as a seasonal electrician. And at night, I believe it's 3 times a night, I am learning math. I'm learning reading. I'm learning comprehensive skills. I'm also learning interview skills for the building trades. And it was a camaraderie. It was about 15 of us. We all were able to pick a different trade. So there were plumbers, electricians, carpenters, tin knockers or sheet metal workers, elevator construction, painters, glazers, all of us in this one room. We're all strangers. We're all in this room at nighttime learning these skills. And during the day, we go on the job site and we learn on the job training, which is, whatever trade you pick, that's what you actually learned. Now, as the year goes on, as a seasonal, you get 1 year. And as that year goes on, they're teaching you all these skills. And when your test date comes up, you take the exam. Hopefully you pass the exam. Majority of us all passed the exam. I was not one of them.
I met Will Griff on a project at the University of Penn called Penn First. He was seasonal for the local 98 electricians. And when you're on these jobs, you kind of become like a family. Their shanty was right next to our shanty, so you get to know them.
So for that year, I'm working. I'm keeping my head down. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm not so worried about the exam, but more so worried about just doing a good job. Giving it my best, giving it my all.
I seen him hustling, and he really wanted this. And when it came time for him to get into Local 98, the door kind of shut on him.
I failed my exam, and this gentleman approaches me on the job site. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know me from a can of paint.
So I'm Robert McFadden. I'm a full-time instructor at the Sheet Metal Workers Local 19. I've been a member for 25 years. And I kind of seen the devastation in his eyes, and he really wanted this. So I walked around and I talked to a lot of his foremen because I didn't know what I was getting involved with. I know he was involved with a program called CAP and everything, and I wanted to understand why he wasn't becoming a Local 98 electrician first. And once they just told me that, it wasn't nothing that he did, it was just circumstances, I asked their permission to ask him if he wanted to become a Local 19 sheet metal worker.
He approaches me and he says, hey, I see what you do every day. If this electrician thing doesn't work out, would you like to try to become a sheet metal worker? I didn't know anything about sheet metal. I didn't know anything. But, like I said, this gentleman, this stranger came into my life and he's trying to give me an opportunity. He sees something in me. And I said, okay, cool. Give me your card. And if it doesn't work out, I'll give you a call. Little did I know, I failed the exam. I called Bobby. I says, hey, Bob, I failed the exam. I gave it my all. He says, no worries.
And so I told him to go out, get the ASVAB book and start studying for the ASVAB, and I'll start doing things on my end to help him become a sheet metal worker.
You know, go down to 1301 South Columbus Boulevard, fill out a union sheet metal application, and wait. I said, wait? He says, yes, wait. I said, okay, cool. So you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then you finally get a call back. You get an exam date. You take your exam, which is, to my understanding, the ASVAB test. There's a military man walking throughout the entire building, you know, watching the applicants take the exam. And yeah, it's and I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it was 32 degrees in that room. I don't know if it was a military test. I don't know what it was, but it was summertime and they made the building ice cold. I take my exam, I go home. I don't think about it. I pick up a odd job somewhere and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. And I finally got a letter in the mail and it says, hey, you've been accepted into the Local 19 union apprenticeship class. Here's your grade for the test. You passed with a high. First thing I did was call Bobby. I told him what I did. I told him what happened. And he says, all right, cool. You're set up now. And that is truly my introduction into the Local 19 union sheet metal workers. You dedicate 4.5 years of your life to this apprenticeship. You don't know what that looks like. You don't know what that means. You don't know who you're going to meet. But when opportunity knocks, you answer the door. And the time goes by quick, very, very fast. You learn so much from your first year all the way to your 4.5 years. You learn as much as you possibly can, whether it's welding, blueprint reading, drafting, architectural, roofing, soldering, foreman training, OSHA training. My apprenticeship was jam-packed with so much training, and you meet so many good people on the job. You learn so much on a day-to-day basis that it's just, you can't even, when it's over, you look back on it and you say, it was like that. Pen Assist was a 1-year thing. I was on the site for 1 year as a seasonal electrician, but when I passed my Local 19 union sheet metal exam, the first job I was placed back on was that Pen Assist job. So when you walk back on the job, I didn't hold my head down low. I walked back on that job as an official apprentice. Little did I know, all the electricians were proud of me. All the sheet metal workers were proud of me because they knew what I was trying to do and how hard I was working to try to get into the building trades. And when they seen that I kicked that door down, whether it was an electrician or whether it was sheet metal, they seen how persistent I was, they seen how hard I was working, they were all just proud of me. And now I have lifelong friends to this day. I've worked on hospitals, refineries. We've worked on medical research buildings, condos, apartments, housing. To be honest, the biggest and the best was that hospital, that Pen Assist program, that Pen Assist job. That was I believe it was like a 2-city block building, from the ground up, a hospital. The professionalism that came from us, that was required of us to build this building, the coordination between all the different building trades, it was amazing. You learned I believe you've learned every bit of the trade, or just that your specific trade on that job site, whether it is welding, soldering, nut and bolt when it comes to just putting the ductwork together, slip and drive. We've done balancing there. You do finish work there. You do it was roofing there, siding, it was copper. Everything was put into that building. And I'm very proud of that because, again, that's where I started. And some people actually completed their apprenticeship on that job. That was a 5-year job. So I'm very proud of that Pen Assist job. I learned a lot, and I take it with me every time I step onto a job because that was the standard. That hospital was grade A standard. You had to have everything neat, nice, tidy, tight in order for this thing to work. And if you were off by an inch, it would all go into shambles. So we all came together and made sure that we coordinated with the carpenters, every building trade, every trade. We coordinated together to make sure that building was built right. And Now it's a fully functioning hospital that provides a service for thousands, maybe millions of people, not only in just Pennsylvania, but in the world. To my understanding, people are flying in from out the country just to come to this facility because of how great of a building this is. I'll give you a little secret. There's something called a top off. It is the last piece of steel of the building. It's sitting on the ground or propped up, and everyone that helped build this building signs their name on this one piece of steel. So somewhere in that building is my name on this building, on this piece of steel in the building. So the top off is what we consider the highlight of the project, because that's the last piece of steel put up on that building before it wraps up. A lot of support, no matter what you want to do. And like I said, when you're in the trade, it's just not sheet metal. If you want to become a sketcher, if you want to become a balancer, if you want to do architectural, if you want to do welding, whatever your heart desires, that family will support you and point you in the right direction to get to that point. They offer night classes that you can take up until you retire. You can be, 25 years in and decide you want to become a welder or you want to become a sketcher. You take the course, the opportunity is there. January, I contacted our apprenticeship coordinator. He told me that Harcum College is coming to our January meeting. They're going to break down how we can take our 4.5-year apprenticeship, apply it to college. And like you said, you may have to take some courses, but when you graduate, you'll have an associate's degree in construction management. And truly, that's what I plan to do as well. And I'll be able to, and the reason I want to do this is because, again, I didn't go to college, but you invest 4.5 years of your time into this. You want to be the best you can be. So if this opportunity is allowing me to become a college graduate, I will do that. And then I can make my family proud, whether it's my mother and my father or my children or my wife. That this career that I chose oh so long ago gave me financial stability, healthcare, and now moving into 2025 or in the future, a college degree. It's amazing. September 2024, I felt very proud because I raised my ticket. Now, for those who don't know what raising your ticket is when you first join the building trades or your apprenticeship, they give you a ticket, and it states that you're an apprentice. And as you go along, you pay your dues and things of that nature. But when you raise your ticket, you get to turn in your apprenticeship ticket, and you get a journeyman ticket. So I think my proudest moment is when I was able to turn in my apprenticeship dues ticket, and I received my first journey person ticket. I'm holding on to until I retire. That's my goal, my dream, to hold on to this journey person ticket until I retire. When people are trying to first join the building trades, I always tell them that we have fair wages that you can provide for your family, healthcare benefits, and a retirement to look forward to. But on the application side, when you're first coming down to fill out that application, I always say to be persistent. Consistency is key, and be determined. It's not an instant gratification process. We have to, calm the nerves, lean on that support system. If you need to call a friend, and I always give them my phone number and email. If you need to call me or you need to text me, just in case you're feeling down about something, or you feel like the process is taking too long and you get a little frustrated, always lean on those people that support you during this process so that you can go in level-headed, and then it'll come as soon as you know it. That will and that determination has to conquer any type of doubt in your mind.